Hey Snapchat, I'm back in LA and I got a really important topic for today's Snapstorm. What I find is many entrepreneurs struggle to talk to their existing investors about what their expectations are. This is a really big mistake. You need to know where you stand with regards to existing investors. The key, as with everything, is to be both respectful and professional in how you bring up the topic. I'm going to tell you how. You need to start with your largest investors. If you need $1 million and you're talking to someone who's going to write a $50,000 check, you're wasting your time. But when you start with your existing investors, you simply say, look, we have 4 months cash left. Here's what I want to figure out from you. If we aren't able to pull an outside round of capital together, I just want to agree a common understanding with you how we should play it. If we're not able to pull together a round, and obviously we're going to try to first, but is a bridge loan something you're even open to? If you are, is that something we should discuss early, or when should I bring up the topic and whom within your partnership should I meet? Or do you have a rule that you always require an outside investor? Personally, it would have been better for you, the entrepreneur, if you knew that about your VCs before they funded you. You probably would have chosen a different VC. Some VCs are just really supportive, even in good times and bad, and some hit the hills, the first bump in the road, and you got to figure that out. By the way, an obvious hack for you is go to other companies that they funded, talk to the other entrepreneurs, and try to understand how they've played it in the past. Do you ever lead inside rounds yourself? And if so, what would you need to do to convince yourself would be a good fit for that? Some firms in some situations just don't mind leading inside rounds. I know Foundry Group is really well known for it for companies they really support. If we're not able to pull together an outside round, should we consider cutting costs? And if so, when and by how much? This is sometimes, as an investor, the position I find myself in. Let me explain. If you're burning $300K a month and I'm the main person around the table writing a check, that's $3.6 million to fund your next year. Maybe I'm willing to write that check, maybe I'm not, but here's what I do know. If you're burning, say, $180K a month, that's infinitely easier risk for me to take. So the lower your burn, sometimes the easier to get investors to commit. It's not necessarily what you set out to achieve, and you really hope you're going to raise that $5, $8, $10 million round, but if you don't, you need to know what your options are in advance to plan for it. The whole theme of today is way too often people go to their investors when they have 6 weeks cash left, and then you really have almost no option to change course. If you were going to participate in our fundraising round, what's your internal process? Do I need to meet your partners? When do I need to meet them? What's the process? Nobody likes to have the acqui-hire conversation with their investors. But here's the thing. If you are potentially going to have to sell your company on the cheap, or maybe even get it a soft landing, then at least knowing in advance that that's the intent of your investors, they really aren't going to write another check, you're better off to know this. Maybe you'll focus earlier in the process when you have more runway on an acqui-hire, or maybe it turns out to make more sense to funding a down round with somebody else. Maybe you can be more creative about strategic investors. But the thing is, if you have the conversation early with your existing investors that they're not likely to support your next round, then you can begin talking to them more openly about whether they'll support a non-traditional next step or outcome for you.